James Cummings joining us for a chat. Good morning to you, James. Your thoughts on the announcement this morning?
Oh, look, this is terrifically exciting news. You know, to have this prize money going to this level,
Come a bit closer.
thank you, is something that, you know, 10 years ago we couldn't have really stood here and imagined this to be possible. And it has been discussed at times, but to be taking the prize money to this level, you know, that just opens up so many more opportunities for reinvestment for owners, which I think is so important. But as Chris said, complementing that, the generosity of spirit to put 1% towards welfare of these horses is something that takes that extra burden off participants and owners that are doing that. We see so often each week and each season, finding homes for horses that have raced and for big stud farms who breed a lot of horses, and many of them we don't get to see race. So to be putting, you know, 1% of prize money, which is $2 million, you know, that's going to go a long way towards helping horses that, you know, we know need to be looked after. And this has been an argument and you know, an explanation that we've needed to give for a long time. A part of our sport that we really need to take responsibility for. And you know, the bosses that sit before us today, they're standing up and taking that responsibility. And you know, it's been a question hanging over our heads, particularly since announcements over the greyhound industry, that we really need to take responsibility for this. And from what we've heard today, you know, there's no doubt that's happening. You know, I'm a young trainer, and I have young friends from university who are, you know, well-educated animal activists and animal lovers, and they ask me that question. You know, what happens to these horses after racing? You know, I show them. I show what we do on Riser as trainers, and we scroll down. We click a few categories, and we let the administrators know that these horses are retired for breeding, or they're retired to become you know, exercise horses or you know, show horses. But the question then becomes, well, what happens to them after that? The question that always follows is, what happens to them after that? And I think that $2 million of hard cash is going to go, you know, it's going to make a big noise, and it's going to go a long way towards providing the justification that we're doing everything we can in a sport that revolves around livestock, that we're being humane, and that we are standing up for the rights of the horses. So you know, I'm very proud to be a part of an industry that can put that label on us as an industry, and going forward we can certainly hold our heads up high. So thank you very much.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I suppose I touched on prize money a number of times. You're an international stable to a certain degree. A lot of your owners in different parts of the world, dare say they'd be pleased with what they've heard this morning as well?
Absolutely. My owners do live overseas, and so often they don't get to see their horses, you know, in the weeks leading up to their races, and they don't get to see exactly all the things that I explain to them, or their bloodstock managers and their racing managers explain to them. And I know that their first instinct at all times is that if we have any doubts over our horses, you know, they just don't race. And we put the horse first, and we thank the veterinarians when they're in a position where they have to give us the hard advice to stop with a horse or to not run a horse. And I know that the feeling that I get from my overseas clients, based around that attitude, I think they'll be very satisfied with the announcements today. And I think that generosity of spirit to keep maintaining these levels of animal welfare is something that we certainly need to keep having coming to the fore in horse racing in New South Wales, and horse racing all around Australia will no doubt start to follow suit.
Okay. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
James Cummings.